Hello everyone, I am Cassandra Augusma, an international research collaborator at Nicoré Associates. This video is part of the video series celebrating Women's Month. I'm going to talk about some gender budget initiatives in Latin America and the Caribbean, the LAC region. Starting with Mexico, the process of elaborating the gender budget is a participatory process that involves several entities, such as the civil society, the parliament, and of course, the Ministry of Finance. For the preparation of the gender budget in Mexico, the government determines the gender needs through a gender analysis, then determines how gender could address these needs, and finally the government evaluates what resources are needed. Now, if we look at the evolution of the gender budget of Mexico over time, as percentage of total expenses, the budget varies from 0.13% in 4 to 0.67% in 2015 to 2% in 2020. And in 2020, the gender budget was allocated in a way where most of the funds went to sectors like well-being, social security, public education, and work and social provision. The budget initiatives of Ecuador is a participatory process that involves the Women's Machinery, the Ministry of Finance, and UN Women. To prepare the gender budget of Ecuador, the government issues budget guidelines for gender equality. Then the authorities create a gender equality classification, and later the gender equality classification becomes a catalog for orientation of expenditure on gender equality policies. Over time, as percentage of total expenses, the gender budget of Ecuador varies from 2.64% in 2014 to 4.38% in 2015. Since then, the gender budget gradually decreased every year to 1.94% in 2019. In 2019, the gender budget of Ecuador was allocated to Women's Empowerment Program and access to healthcare. However, there is no detail in the budget on how much is allocated to each of these programs. The budget initiatives of El Salvador is a participatory process that involves the Women's Machinery, the civil society, the parliament, and of course the Ministry of Finance. The preparation of the gender budget in El Salvador follows 4 steps. First, a single budget unit is created to promote gender equality and the advancement of women in public expenditure across all areas of the budget. Second, a specific section of the budget for gender-oriented priorities is set aside. Third, a relational annex of gender-related programs and projects is prepared. And fourth, a budget to the National Policy for Women's Action Plan is allocated. Over time, as percentage of total expenses, the gender budget of El Salvador remains fixed, a percentage of 0.10% of the total expenditure from 2014 to 2020, except for 2019, where the gender budget reached 0.20%. The 2020 gender budget of El Salvador was distributed among programs related to women's economic empowerment, nurseries, health, education, and violence against women services. However, like the Ecuador gender budget, there was no precision on how much the budget was allocated to this program. The key takeaways from these budget initiatives of the LAC region. First, the process of establishing a gender participatory process where the civil society, the women's machineries, the Ministry of Finance, and UN Women get involved. Second, in all 3 initiatives, the most recent gender budget remained very low as percentage of the total expenses in the global budget, and it's around 2% of the total budget, and even under. Compared to Ecuador and El Salvador, the gender budget of Mexico has an annex with details about how the gender budget is allocated by sector, which make it easier to track and analyze, while the gender budget of Mexico and El Salvador remain very vague on how they are distributed by sector. Overall, we can see that there is a long way to go to increase gender budget in the LAC region. Gender budget is especially relevant for the post-COVID recovery plans, as the economic recovery must be accompanied with an objective to close gender gaps, and gender budget can be very promising in addressing these matters, if of course well used. Thank you.